Will Matt Murdock be able to address his crisis of faith and deal with the final deadly sins that are nipping at his heels? Well, let's hop to the pages of Daredevil issue number 15 and find out together, shall we? Oh geez, it's been a while since we talked about Daredevil, isn't it? Picking up from where the last issue left off, which has been a while ago, Matt and Elektra were investigating the murder of a private investigator, who Elektra had hired to look for Jason, the child who just so happens to be missing from Father Avi and Matt's orphanage. The PI was torn apart as if by some horrible monster, only this isn't just a regular horrible monster, this is yet another one of Matt's rogue sins who have been hunting him ever since his resurrection. Matt once again starts throwing himself a massive pity party, saying that this is all his fault. All of these people are being hurt by his deadly sins because he dared to spit in the eyes of God after he was given a second chance at life. Though in a fun reversal of fortunes, it's actually Elektra who ends up stepping on in and puts a stop to all of this self-hate, saying that Daredevil, Matt Murdock, has nothing to be ashamed of, that he is a good man, kind and honest, who is making the most of his second chance at life even though it doesn't seem like it. In fact, Daredevil's very existence is in complete opposition to these 7 deadly sins that have been chasing him. Now, it's after that we transition on over to a darkened law office where one of the goons that Father Matt had roughed up in a previous issue is apparently now looking for legal representation in taking Matt to court. Now, if you're like me and have sharp eyes and recognize a particular hair curl and bow tie, chances are you're further ahead of the story than it expects you to. But all the same, keep this in mind because it will indeed be important later. Now, it's after that Daredevil actually ends up going to the same church where Father Javi is currently praying. Jason has been gone for a while now, and Javi is starting to blame himself for not standing up to that sin monster when he had the chance. Daredevil swoops on in to ease the father's mind and to also let him in on his investigation into trying to find Jason and how, unfortunately, he hasn't really turned up anything useful. This conversation also ends up taking a really fascinating turn too, as Javi says that the man in the Daredevil suit reminds him very much of a good friend of his, a man who is also self-hating, and often afraid to ask for help, but who is still very much a good friend all the same. Yeah, Javi is basically saying it without saying it, that he's pretty sure that Daredevil and Father Matt are the same person. And I mean, hey, he lived with the guy for as long as he did, so I think it's kind of cool that Javi might very well be close to figuring it out if he hasn't already. This revelation and feeling that much closer to Javi too also means that Matt is free to open up with the priest and tell him about everything that's been going on with him. You know, the trip to hell, the resurrection, the sin monsters that just so happen to be possessing his friends and enemies alike, and wouldn't you know it, Father Javi actually has a pretty damn interesting take. Basically, he says that Matt is being silly if he thinks that God would willingly be doing all of this to him, that if the great all-powerful creator was just sitting up there in heaven torturing his Daredevil action figure, then he really isn't much of a good deity at all, is he? And yeah, you know what? Daredevil never even stopped to think about all of that maybe this devil and demon business might be related to something else completely, and that maybe the universe isn't out to get him, and that this all isn't some elaborate cosmic punishment delivered upon him. Now, it's at that moment too, Daredevil's super hearing tips him off to a person in need. It seems that a frat boy has been torn apart by the same creature that took Jason. A creature that Matt very quickly pegs as none other than the Sin of Wrath. However, unlike all the other sin demons who he's fought up until this point, this creature hasn't actually possessed anyone yet, instead choosing to take the form of a feral cat. This thing's an absolute beast too in every sense of the word, moving faster than Daredevil can even properly perceive. Matt absolutely gets cut to ribbons by this thing before eventually passing out, only it's right around here things start to get weird. Matt ends up waking up in his flophouse. His wounds have all been mended and even his costume has actually been washed. At first, Matt thinks maybe one of the friendly winos in the area picked him up, but that can't possibly be it. Things get even stranger too when Matt ends up hearing a knock at the door but no accompanying heartbeat behind it. Daredevil opens the door only to find a legal summons, but not just any legal summons, one from his old friend Foggy Nelson. Yes, that's right, he was the shadowy lawyer from before. He's the one who's going to actually be taking Father Matt to court. And so that was Daredevil issue number 15, everybody, and I gotta say, after the long wait in between issues, this one did not disappoint. Solid Amid does a great job throwing us right back in the action, getting us up to speed on everything that's going on and also the stakes surrounding these events. More than anything though, I think this issue actually serves as a nice little release of tension from the last several arcs, with both Elektra and Father Javi remind Matt that he need not give in to despair, aware that he need not blame himself for his problems, that he is at the end of the day a good man with a good heart, and not the sort of person that a loving, nurturing God would seek to torment the way that he's been tormented. This also opens up the idea too that if God isn't punishing Daredevil for squandering his second chance at life after his death and his return from hell, then who actually is? The promise too of seeing Matt go head to head with a possessed Foggy in a courtroom setting is also pretty damn brilliant too. The story practically writes itself. Foggy was mad at Matt when they met previously, and now he might very well be possessed by the spirit of wrath itself. I imagine there's going to be some great back and forth there, some great continuity callbacks, and personally I'm really excited. Overall, I'd give this issue a well-deserved 8.5 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.